Thank you. Wow, he said he was going to introduce me a hip-hop superstar, and I didn't believe him, but he did it. Anyway, I am not a hip-hop superstar, but I did do some Latin dance, so I guess that's close enough. Cool. So I'm here today to talk about the mobile platform war and how to be cohesive and coherent on mobile. So a little bit about me. I was born a few years ago. I'm sure I look younger than I am. And then I did engineering and product after college. I was a software developer, and then I did product for a company called Yola. And in 2012, I went into the gold rush of mobile, trying to build an app and become famous and make lots of money in the mobile ecosystem. I failed, and my co-founders and I actually took all the learnings we had from our app and built Branch. And Branch is a deep linking platform. We help power some of the biggest brands out there, and we help create links on mobile that unify the fragmentation in the mobile ecosystem. So talking about fragmentation, and a lot of my talk will be about what fragmentation actually is and why the ecosystem is as it is today, but it's basically the process of breaking or being broken into small and separate parts. And that's what's happening on mobile. If you were to think about desktops, the web actually unified the desktop. So whether you were on an Apple computer or on a Dell, you were getting to the same content on the web, and you get a very seamless experience because the HTTP protocol made content easy to pass through and made everything seamless. That's no longer true in mobile. First, as mobile was introduced, there came a big shift and a big split between web and apps. And when you come in web and apps, they're not just apps on Android or iOS, but now you have iMessages app, and you have apps in WeChat. And everything is becoming more and more split and more broken. You have tons of different types of devices. You have on Android everything from Samsung to Huawei to OnePlus, who I guess is not that big anymore. And beyond phones, you now have a watchOS and a tvOS and a CarOS. And the platforms, the big platforms themselves are trying to build their own walled ecosystem on top of all the fragmentation that's already out there. So you could be that someone gets to your content, reading it in a Facebook instant app that they get in the Facebook browser on an iPad device. But it could also be that the same content is perceived in an AMP page that appears in an Opera Mini browser on an Android device. So you need to make sure that when you create content, that people can get to it and they get a good experience regardless of these thousands of possibilities that are out there. So let's talk a little bit about why this fragmentation is there. Why hasn't been a unification like it has been on the web on mobile? Why haven't Google and Facebook and Apple worked together to create a standard that allows content to be seamless between web and app and between the different platforms? Well, there's a very easy answer. Platforms are actually like empires. They're inherently selfish. They're all fighting for a user's time. Google wants all their old users to get content that's on the Google platform. So that's Facebook. So do the new incumbents like WeChat and Snapchat. So if you were to look at the ecosystem, I'm going to use the Game of Thrones map as a map for this empires today. And we have the Facebook, Google, and Apples of the world that are already established empires. But now you have new ones coming in, like WeChat and Snapchat, that are trying to build their own walled ecosystems. And you also have ecosystems that no one really knows and fully understands well, like VR that's coming from beyond the wall. And let's kind of look at each of these. You are really, so when you build on all these platforms, you're literally just a tool in their domination. When Google is creating accelerating mobile pages and getting you to build content on that, people are actually getting your content, but they're consuming it within the Google ecosystem, so Google can keep them inside. That's the reason that all these platforms are creating their own browsers. So when you click on a link, instead of being taken outside of a platform, they're trying to keep you in a browser inside their walled ecosystem. So Google is a great example of someone that's actually having an internal war as well. So Google hasn't decided if the future of mobile is mobile apps or the mobile web. So they instead have decided to fund different teams within Google that work on these separate initiatives. So you have on the app side the Android team that really believes that the apps are going to win, and they have instant apps that are helping make apps more digestible and gives users a preview of the app before they actually have to download it. But then on the other hand, you have the teams at Google that really believe that apps are going to die and the web is going to win. So you have the progressive web apps team that is going out there and trying to get people that are already using Android apps to build apps on the web. And then you have AMP, Accelerated Mobile Pages, which is Google's tool to basically create pages that load a lot faster, but that are completely owned and encased in the Google ecosystem. So let's look at some search results on Google. So let's say I'm looking for this movie, Tiny Boss. If you're looking at the results, and if you actually go and scroll, if you're an app, and in this case Fandango, you have to go really far down to actually get to an app result. So we actually went and took a screenshot of all the different results, all scrolling all the way down, and this is how it's categorized. The first 33% is all Google's content, and this is hosted content by Google, displayed by Google. Under it, there are some content that could be organic, but they're probably influenced by paid search. Then there's AMP, Accelerated Mobile Pages, that's also Google's content. And then come the actual organic results that are really far down. And then below that, there's more Google content. So for a platform that says that they're trying to revolutionize and democratize discovery, there's a lot of Google content out there. And then there's Facebook, who has their own wild ecosystem. So Facebook is trying to create more apps, and they're trying to keep everyone inside those apps. A great example was Instagram. They bought Instagram, and they grew it. But one thing that you've noticed about Instagram, there is no way to actually add links to an Instagram post. So you can't take people out of Instagram. So everything they do is to keep people as much as possible within that walled garden. So an example, Spotify. I'm in Spotify, and I want to, on the Facebook page, and I want to go into the app. And you think that if I click on that button that says Use App, the next step would be for me to be taken and open the app. I have the app, in this case, on my phone. Well, no, the next step is actually to take me to a landing page, and then I have to click Open Spotify, and then they really want to make sure that I want to leave Facebook, and then finally they take me to the app. So there's actually 5 steps when it should just be 1, right? There's a reason behind that. They do make it hard for users to leave. And if you think of the new incoming incumbents, it's not much better. So this is an example of WeChat, and if you click on a link in WeChat, they do not allow you to open another app. They only take you to the mobile web, and it has to be in the WeChat browser. So make sure you have a fallback URL for any link that you think users are going to split in WeChat. And they're also building this thing called mini programs that are basically a way to build apps within WeChat. So it's no longer enough that you have an Android and iOS app. Now you have to have a mini program in WeChat as well. So you have all these big platforms, and they're all trying to grow. So where does this leave you? What can you do to fight? Well, you should try to build your own fortress. So how will you build your own mobile kingdom? It's not easy, but I think it's doable. So first, you have to decide and build your own fortress. And for some of you, it might be your mobile website. For others, it might be your mobile app. I believe that mobile apps are actually the best way to engage users and really own them. You can send them push notifications. They have a piece of your brand on their phone. But if you don't have a mobile app, maybe it is your website. Choose one, and make sure that then you fight for your users. So you bring them back to that fortress that you have. So this is an example of a Jet. And for them, the fortress is their mobile app. So they use all the other entities as ways to bring users into their fortress. In this case, they're showing banners and interstitials on the mobile website, taking people into the app. But the website is not the only one. They actually build an iMessages app that takes people into their native apps. They use AMP pages. They use SEO to really boost products. And then as people get to their mobile sites, take them back into the app. So they use all these other pieces of the ecosystem to bring people to what they consider their fortress. In the case of WeChat, what we were talking about earlier, there are ways around it. So one thing you could do is actually to detect the user agent and understand that someone is clicking on that link inside the WeChat app, and then show them a page that's specifically done for WeChat. And this is something that we did with branch links. If you click on a link, we actually show you a page that shows you how to get out of the app. And in this case, you say, okay, click more, and then click on this, and then you're going to be taken outside into in that case, the Yelp app. And this is a very simple piece of code that allows you to do that. Our links do it automatically, but you can easily build it yourself. Similarly with Facebook, if you know that they're in Facebook, you can show them banners and interstitials that only appear if someone is looking and clicking on that link and opening a mobile site in Facebook. And with AMP, it's a lot more complicated because AMP is such a strict platform for development. We're working on a solution on that that's actually going to allow you to have an interstitial that takes someone out of an AMP page into your own app. And obviously, you can customize this, and depending on the browser that they're in, whether it's a Facebook or Twitter browser, you can show them larger interstitials. But if they're going and looking at the content in Safari, you can actually have much smaller interstitials because you know they're like not in one of these walled gardens. And lastly, obviously, once you've kind of get new users, it's important to find allies. Find other apps that can work with you and can help you exchange users. Some great examples. Waze is obviously a Google property, but they are their own brand. So our friends at Spot Hero did an integrations where they worked with the Waze API, and if you are in Waze and you're approaching your destination, you can actually find parking locations, and you can open the Spot Hero app directly from there and go and get your parking spot. Similarly, a great example is this partnership between Yumly and Instacart. So Yumly is a cooking app. So in Yumly, you can get a recipe, and then there's this awesome button that says Add to Cart. And it actually takes all the different ingredients that you need and opens Instacart with all those things directly added to cart. So there are ways where you can find allies and symbiosis where you can work together to get users and kind of go around these big walled ecosystems. So just remember, build your own walled kingdom, fight for your users, find allies, and just keep building. And don't get intimidated by the big ecosystems out there. Thank you.